Like there's a few different barriers to getting into this movie. Like, I watched it with subtitles. Did you watch it dubbed or with subtitles?
So
That already is like one layer of distance, right? And then there's the culture, and there's the various traditions, there's the religion and the symbolism, and then on top of it, it's found footage with a non-linear storytelling style, right? So there's all these different obstacles to getting into this movie, and yet it really works. I kept thinking about Nosferatu as I was watching this, because Robert Eggers makes movies where you have to have seen and read the same influences that he has. And when you do, it's like his movies are genius. But if you haven't, you have no chance. Because the movie simply doesn't tell you what's going on, right? It doesn't tell you the rules, it doesn't tell you what the imagery means, it doesn't tell you what the references are. And as a result, you either get it or you don't. And here there's like a staircase where you can take as many or as few steps as you want, but the basic plot of it is outright explained to you. And I kind of appreciate that when a movie does that, where you're not completely lost. Like nobody is completely lost, but everybody can take as many or as few steps as they're comfortable with. I actually kind of think that's a really smart way of doing it, because nobody's going to get all the references and going to get all the pieces. But if you get 20% of the pieces, that's something. If you get 40%, if you get 70%, like everybody can kind of settle on where they're comfortable. And every time I watch it, I take one more step upwards, because now I see a reference, or now I get the background to what this imagery means or whatever. And I think that's cool, and I think more movies should do that.
still no, no. Like, would you have still understood 70%?
Maybe something like 40. So there's lots of little details where I just wouldn't know, right? Because although I've spent some time in that part of the world, it's not like I studied Buddhism or anything like that, right?
Kind of knowing, would you still have a satisfactory experience? Like, would you?
Yeah, I think so. And the reason for it is that there's no minimum hurdle, right? Like the movie basically takes the first step for you, and then it encourages you to take more. So I think it's really smart in how it's calculated, and none of the pieces are really essential. So when they explain this thing about like this gesture is actually a perversion of a blessing, and how and Ronan just outright explains to you in the beginning that a blessing and a curse are kind of the same thing depending on your point of view, and so her cursing you is a blessing on her. And also, the more people you curse, the more blessed you are, because the curse gets lighter. Like the important stuff gets explained very obviously in the sense that the movie just tells you. So to basically understand the basic story of it, I think it's pretty hard to not get the basic story, because the important parts they already tell you, and then they put in layers and layers of more stuff. And it's up to you how deep into the onion you want to go. And I think that's really cool, because I've bounced off some really great movies because I simply did not read the same books as the director, right? The movie outright makes no sense. And here the movie makes sense, and it's richer the more you bring to it. This is not the only movie that's done this, but this is like the most extreme and the purest form of that concept, I thought. And that's why I wanted to bring it up, because it makes enjoying the movie so much easier, but also engaging with the movie so much more rewarding.